Welcome to Coach Chloe, the journey to self love. This is the fourth episode of our first series. Today, we're going to talk about what I dislike about myself. Um, so, here's what we talked about in the previous episodes. Who are you becoming is greater than who you were before this moment. It's the I factor, what I love about myself, what I like about myself. And we talked about the journey that we're taking and the greatness that's emerging. So when we think about what I like about myself, it feels like a kind of a crazy title. What I dislike about myself, um, and just being comfortable with what I dislike about myself. How many times we've thought about, or we've said this, I wish I was, or if only I could, or, I should have, which means it was something that we didn't like, and being able to identify what that is helps us to emerge into what we possibly can be. So I wanted to share a few things that I don't like about myself, or I dislike about myself, because the truth is I still love me. I'm still happy with my imperfections, because to me, my imperfections are flawless and I have to be comfortable with that. But there's certain things that I wish I was, or if only I could be, I should have. And one of those things is I don't pick up the phone and talk to a friend. For me to even just dial a number and pick it up is awkward and uncomfortable. And I know that comes from somewhere because of something in my past. And this is what I do. I have to text first and ask for permission, or say something like, uh, do you have a few minutes to chat? Why? Because I feel like I would be a nuisance, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that nuisance. And it kind of it gets me stuck in my world. Maybe that friend is someone that needed to talk to someone, and maybe I could have um, been that to that friend, and I would have probably felt the same way. So here's, if only I could pick up the phone and talk to a friend whenever I felt like a close friend, then maybe, just maybe, I will start to like that about myself, until I love that about myself, that I could do that. Another thing would be, that I dislike is, I'm always in a rush. And I'll never forget when my mom was visiting me from South Africa, and she came to my place, and I walked terribly fast. And she looked at me and she said, "Why are you in a rush?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not rushing." She said, "Yeah, you're running." I'm like, "No, mom, I'm walking." She said, "Okay, walk slow and see what happens." And I tried that, but now I'm in giggles because it is awkward for me to walk slowly. I just have to run. I have a flight of stairs here at home, and I'm always running up and down. And I think to myself, if I could just slow down, I will have more moments in the day where I get to pause and breathe. And I also get to self reflect. And, unless we take moments to self reflect, how can we observe ourselves and how we're showing up, and what we can work on to get to a greater version, a better version of who we are? Because we all a work in progress. I'm sure we all want to be better at something. So, what if I just took a moment, paused, and noticed, or thought about what is something that I could do better? If only I could pause and not be in a rush, then I will maybe start to like that about myself, until I love that about myself. There's a third thing. You know, I dislike at times, especially in close relationships, I don't say what I feel. And so I have to get to a point of being fed up before I say something. And, you know, sometimes that moment has come and gone. And it was like as though I didn't have the courage to say something, or I didn't want to say something so the other person felt hurt, or maybe it felt a little awkward at that time. Again, it's a place of awkwardness. So, I dislike how I shut down when I feel unsafe or when I feel threatened. I know it's a coping mechanism, but at times it doesn't serve me well. I uh, just recently, I I ended a relationship because I felt I didn't speak up. Well, at that time when I was ending it, I didn't think at that time I was right. But now, as I reflect and look back, I think there were moments that I could have said something that could have changed the trajectory of this relationship. Or what would have happened if I did say how I felt? What's the worst thing that could have happened? I don't know. If only I could have said what I felt, then maybe I would start to like that about myself until I love that about myself. Then we get to all this, we go through all of this, what we dislike, and we get to a place where, well, you know, I'm now starting to think, okay, I start judging myself. And we don't want to do that. We want to be able to observe how are we showing up and what do we need to do to pivot to become better versions. Um, and how do I accept that, you know, uh, accept it at that moment? This is what I dislike. I don't like that I feel this way. What can I do to change? What can I do to show up in a way that um, I can make a difference in my life and in the person who I'm having a conversation with. There are other things that we do, and we say like certain things. We say it like it has already happened. Oh, that's not going to work. Oh, I've tried that, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We think it, we say it, and we expect the worst to happen sometimes. That. Or what about this here? It's like, you know what, I deserve that. Oh, I don't feel good enough. I'm not enough. I don't feel like I'm enough. So we adopt this victim mindset of we don't deserve that. Hey, you know what? Every single one of us, we all special. Every single one of us is unique. Do you know? And no one else has your thumbprint. No one is like you. The way you show up, the way you feel, the way you respond, there is no one like you. So, not being able to have a victim mindset, but saying, you know what, I deserve this. I deserve to have the best life. I deserve to be in a position, or I deserve this gift. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be accepted. I deserve to belong. Um, we always are looking at considering other people and what they are thinking. And sometimes we forget about ourselves because we concerned about everybody else. That is something I also sometimes dislike, that I stand in someone else's shoe for so long that I forget what my own shoe feels like. How often we've done that. So knowing how to create balance, how much is too much? And when do I get to a place where I am giving up something of me instead of saying, if only? On your journey of self love, What's your next landmark? Who are you becoming is greater than who you were before this moment. We on the journey, we've started this journey, we're exploring, we're discovering, we're learning, we're applying so that we get to write our story. And I want to leave you with this reflection. I wish I was more courageous in close relationships to say what I feel. So I don't have to waste a long time, get so upset, and then crash because I don't know what the possibilities are that could have happened there. I cannot second guess. I cannot say, well, if I did this here or this is what really happened. I will never know. So I don't want that. I don't want to miss those opportunities in life for me to explore and discover who I could be. Um, I wish I could slow down sometimes. So I get a moment to just pause and reflect. Um, I wish I wasn't so judgmental at times in normal conversations. I'm a coach. When I put on my coach hat, it is the simplest thing and the easiest thing for me to slip into that role and completely step away from, and suspend all judgment. But as soon as I take that coach hat off, then it becomes easier for me to judge. And I wish I wasn't so judgmental. Unless I know this about myself, I cannot change it or be better. What would happen if each of us was to unlock this power? How would we grow and keep growing? And how would others be more positively impacted? So I want to end with this. What if you started your day and said, if only I could fill in the blank, and then think about one thing that you could do differently to change that. Instead of saying, if only I could, you could say, this is what I do. And you could end your day by saying, I used to dislike this about myself, but guess what? I'm now starting to like this. And before long, I'm going to love this about myself. What is your if only? What is your if only? And I want to leave you with that. For our next episode, get ready for something that is miraculous, that's really happening. It's right now happening because we're writing our own story. Once upon a dream, let's begin to dream of what our aspirational self looks like.